We back another episode 13. Got a packed house tonight. As everybody files in to the live. We're waiting on one or two more people. Hopefully, Q and Caddy will be here. Next speaking of the devil. All right, so let's get right into it. Like, share, subscribe. What'd you say, Poop? All right, cool. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're gonna get right into it, man. All right, first topic.
We had a real honest conversation.
My friend and I were at this party in New York, and back to his place, and
Sweetie, you can't keep dating him. He's gay.
Hey, babe. How's work?
All right. So now, if you looked at the stream, right, one of the topics was insecure. I think that series did well for a lot of people. I didn't particularly watch it aside from the first couple of shows, really. But I did see that one of the clip I just played. So my question is, right, first topic of the day. Can men explore sexuality without being labeled? So if you, just to provide context, right, the gentleman was in college, right, that the girl was messing with, and he said his friend went down on him. But he said it was just an experience, and he wasn't gay or, bisexual or what have you. So the question is, can men explore sexuality without being labeled? Furious Styles, we'll start with you.
No.
Okay.
No, whatever you decide to encounter in your younger years, older years, middle-aged years, it comes with a label. Even if you're straight, heterosexual, that's a label. There is no operating society without a label with your sexual orientation.
So if you had to label that man after his friend went down on him, what would be his label?
Whatever he chooses it to be.
What?
Oh no.
Okay.
You don't know. So somebody else gets to come up with his label for him?
Well, I'm guessing to clarify this sexual orientation label. Is it straight, gay, bisexual?
Curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's up for me to decide.
Okay. You just said it was.
I just said it was what?
Yeah, you started off. He asked you, would he get a label? You said yes.
Yeah.
But you don't know what the label is. Like, what,
no, because you could label yourself whatever you want to, and you proceed as such.
Bruh. So then he wouldn't get a label. He would assign himself a label after the action. This is what you're saying.
Yes.
We had that conversation a couple episodes ago. Remember?
I don't remember this.
I missed that.
When the lady decided she was going to be a lady, but she was a man.
Yeah.
That was a little in this question.
I think, isn't it problematic for somebody else to come up with a label for you?
No.
I think it's very normal, right? And to your point, yes, you're gonna get a label. Everyone gets a label. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's an automatic thought. We don't have to think about it. Mm-hmm. So if you, and this is for you, if your friend told you some man went down on him in college one time only, but you've known him only to date women, what is the label that you have given him?
I can't assign his label. Stop what?
Alex, what do you think? Can a man explore sexuality without being labeled?
Unfortunately, no. And I understand folks up here trying to be politically correct, but you know good and well if your man told you he was having relations with another man, you're gonna be like, this nigga is gay. Like, period. You just have to just call it what it is.
So I'm supposed to label somebody what I think they should be?
It's not what you're supposed to be. Like, it's not about
what happens.
What happens.
Yeah.
Well, I don't disagree that people get labeled. But deciding on what that label is for somebody, no. Because what if he says, I'm not bisexual, I'm gay, or if I am gay, I'm not bisexual? Who am I to determine what's right or wrong?
Well, you're determining his label based on his actions. That's who you are to determine.
Right. So if this was a man who had a sexual encounter with another man, but is now dating a woman, what if he don't want to be labeled as bisexual?
You don't like.
But we're not
are what
asking
you
for
do.
your.
Came
He
to
should
you and
correct
said,
himself.
no. Me and my homeboy got drunk. We did whatever. What is the immediate reaction that's gonna come to your mind?
Gay.
That he's gay.
Okay.
Listen,
All right. So there we go.
But that's not answering. That's not
Even if he says, "Nah, it was just
It's
one time he was drunk."
straight.
That's not
You're gonna be
answering.
looking at him a little crazy when he starts drinking a little bit too much. You're gonna be like, "Yo, you about to be looking at me over here?" Like, be honest.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna be like that. I got a little bit more security than worry about stuff like that. But no, that's not up to me to decide what.
Sure.
That's not up to me to decide where he gets to be labeled at. That's not up to me.
We're not saying the label actually has to stick, right? Like we can all give each other labels, but me giving you a label, you give me a label, don't mean shit, right?
Right.
Does it still happen? But does it still happen? Absolutely.
Well, I don't disagree that people get labeled, but if you're saying what I would label someone else is, I don't think that's my responsibility.
So
I think
in context, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say in context, women can, and I have many a girlfriend, woman friend, can experiment all throughout their lifespan, right? They can be gay today, bi tomorrow, straight, and nobody bats an eye. It's like, girl, you are what you are at the time.
Double standard.
I don't know if that's
as long as they present as feminine and soft, they're not going to be labeled as like that's a lesbian, right? They're going to say, "Oh, you're straight," whatever. A guy says one time, "I kissed a guy," or "let a guy kiss me," or "give me head," or whatever the case may be. That nigga's gay. Mm-hmm. There's no other question about it. It could have happened one time, right? And niggas in general, people will be like, "Nah, you gay." That's a fact. Like that's a statement of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just saying it's not up to me to call that man that.
Yeah. Okay. No, man. Okay. All right.
Put Sean back on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to label nobody. Put me on the bottom. What if you wanted to be? What if you did something, Corey? I'm not saying any kind of sexual act or intercourse, orientation, anything. But what if you did something and somebody labeled you? Oh, you a nigga.
Well,
and you don't feel like you a nigga.
Labels are just tools to help us lump similar characteristic things together. That's all a label is.
So when somebody label you a nigga and you take offense to that, you supposed to just accept your label and that's the right thing to do? Come on, man. What are you talking about?
They label me a nigga, did they call me a nigga? Like that's different. Like,
come on. Now you're trying to be too nuanced. You know what I'm saying?
But also, is he doing nigga shit?
Right.
Does it matter?
He's probably gonna be.
Exactly.
I think the bigger thing is that women are allowed to explore their sexuality in a way that men aren't.
I disagree with that too.
There's the double standard is there. And for me, personally, if I had learned that a man that I was dealing with had relations with another man, I don't care if it was a peck, a little, no. And I'm just being honest. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that he's attracted to men, but for me that's a no. Because in my mind, maybe I'm not mature enough like that. But I'm always gonna be like, what made you decide that you know what? Let me take it a little bit further with him. Because if y'all actually, I don't know if you guys saw that, watched the show, but in the episode she was saying, you know, most men are a few drinks away from having relations with their male friends. And he claims that he was drunk. He had a little bit too much to drink, and it happened.
Yeah, but I think also on the show, I think she was like I think it was like she was being sarcastic or facetious because his response did not correlate with her response to his response. So I don't know if she was being like, you know, I think she was being facetious, but you know what you said is still that nigga. Isha, what you think? Can men explore sexuality without being labeled?
I got a quick story, because I'm dating right now, right?
So this guy actually sent me a video of him playing with a toy.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
Well, like what
Nigga
kind of
gay.
like a pocket pussy? Like what kind of toy? there's multiple.
It was like a penis, and he went further and asked, "Can I strap him?" And after that, I was like, "You gay? You gay?"
But you're a woman, so that's different. That's just
some men do think that, but if a
Yo, P
man
gotta
like
chill.
get in his behind,
yeah, tagging and all that. That's just you're at the end of the day. If you're committing a sexual act with another woman, that does not make you gay. In my opinion.
That's what I hear. But
that's a lie.
I'm sorry. Ain't no
in
nigga
my
on
mind,
my back while I'm on his
he
back.
might be a couple of drinks away from letting a man do it.
Well, first off,
Yeah, I know
hold
that's
up. Can I speak? Is it my turn yet?
Hey, go ahead, Corey.
It's been so much misinformation going on. First off, that you were a couple of drinks away from being gay. I'd have had a lot of drinks with a lot of my friends, and we never had enough drinks to step to that point. So
I didn't say being gay. I said doing certain acts.
Nah, we didn't have all these
in the show.
and we never got
She
to
was
that
quoting from
point.
the show. She was quoting from the show, though.
Hey, but anyway, back to the first thing. The question was, yes, you would be labeled. Yes, you should be labeled. Whoever said that you can't do nothing gay with a woman, that's a lie. You can do something gay with a woman.
You can't do gay stuff.
And I'm judging women who participate in homosexual activities in the same, or labeling them in the same way that I would label a man who participates in homosexual activities. That's all of my points for everyone.
So you saying you don't give no grace to women either?
No.
So are you saying basically any type of anal play makes you gay?
If you're getting penetrated, yes, that would.
That includes eating ass. So you don't get your ass eaten?
Right. That could happen.
I
mean, like you want to say no to that?
I didn't want to offend some of my brothers on here who may participate in that. But I'm doing this to protect Sean. But I don't participate in that activity. But yeah, I think if you're getting penetrated, yeah.
I feel like
at the end of the day, you are what you do. Let's just put that out there. That's the way to sum this up. You are what you do. You can't do certain things and then want to be something else.
But you could be sexually fluid, right? There's
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Like you just enjoy sexual activities. You don't necessarily.
We call it hoe positive.
That's not
hoe positive.
That's not a real thing. I mean, they want to come up with 100 different categories for people. No, they got.
If there's not a man involved, the whole point of being homosexual is that you're in a same-sex scenario.
Right.
So if there's a woman, if you only deal with women, that does not make you homosexual. It just might make you sexually fluid or more sexually inquisitive.
It might make you into men, but you're scared to go ahead through that male act. That's what it might
Maybe.
make. Like, you
It
just
could
don't
be
want to
that.
be
You could just
labeled.
come out
So
with a man.
you letting a woman participate in the stuff that a guy should have been doing to you just because you don't want to have the stigma of being.
But Isha, did he ever say to you like, and I know like of men who are like into that, like, you put the strap on me, whatever. But I guess for me, like, where did that first, like, who told you that? Like, who introduced him to that? Like, did you guys ever have that conversation, or was just like, no, there's nothing to talk about?
I asked, has he ever done it with a man? He said no, but he just says it's the best orgasm ever.
Well, I mean, that we know that. That's science. Yeah, that's science.
That is.
What's science?
So your prostate? Okay, man.
Yes.
Your prostate.
Hey, Skip, I don't need it. I'm good. Whatever I've been doing to get me by. I don't need it. I don't need the science that much.
Until you try it.
I think I understand.
That's the problem. You got to knock some stuff before you try it. You can't try everything.
Yes. You got to knock the walls down. Correct.
No.
Everything will have to be tried. Go ahead, Q.
No, I was saying, I think I understand what everyone is saying. I agree with all of you a little bit, because if you really think about it, you would have to live a gay lifestyle, in my eyes, in order to be considered a gay man. So to what I think it's tomorrow's point.
Mhm.
If you're engaging in that kind of activity, it could just be the pleasure that you're looking for, as opposed to you actually being a homosexual male. Like you just want your prostate tickled. That's your business.
Mhm.
I don't think it equates to you being gay, because you could look at men and just really not be attracted to them.
Yeah.
So
Now that I think that's rare. I think that most men who do want their prostate tickled is into niggas. And so Aisha, you gotta look out for yourself, sis. You know what I'm saying? If he giving you that kind of vibes, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting also how Corey is probably one of the only guys that I know that is really kind of putting women in that same class. Like, if you're a heterosexual woman, you want to be with a man. You don't want to be with a gay man. And very seldom do you find men that don't give women a pass. They feel if a woman was engaged in sexual activity with another woman, she's still good to go. Like, she's still on some hetero type shit. And Corey's like, no, that's gay. That ain't really my get down. I want a heterosexual woman. So kudos to you. I think you're probably the first person I know who feels that way, and that's very interesting.
Yeah.
cool. So hold on now. So now, does it matter who's tickling his prostate, Q?
I think if the purpose of it matters.
So if his man's got his fingers up his man's ass,
Yeah, that's two men.
Yeah.
well, then that's gay, right?
Definition of homosexual.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any
Yes.
involvement with another man is gay activity.
But even if it was a woman and he was envisioning a man, that's some gay shit. So it depends on the purpose.
Okay, but you wouldn't be able to necessarily uncover that part, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling Aisha.
This is not minority report.
What it could possibly be.
I remember when Tank was like had a conversation about this on the Breakfast Club, and he was like, he said something like, you cut the grass one time doesn't make you a landscaper. In terms of if you had a gay experience, it don't make you gay. Is he right? Tomorrow?
No. If you are dealing with a man in any capacity, you're gay. That's it. There's no that's it. If you're dealing with another man. Now, I don't believe in there's men that are into, they might be into anal play, and I don't believe that anal play and different sexual activities that might be popular in a homosexual community, I don't believe that makes you gay. But if anytime that you're dealing with the same sex, that's gay. That's
Now,
what
no
it
question.
is.
Is the act gay or is he gay? Because that's where the label comes in. Okay, so he's gay and the act is gay.
All of
But
it's
that's
gay.
when you get into people being like, I'm sexually fluid and I'm
They're
non-binary.
sexually fluid, where they just start, you have sex with anything that you're attracted to. You know what I mean? It may not even be human. Like,
so now, just because P and I been out before, and he'll point out a nigga like that nigga's gay.
Yeah.
So can men be bisexual?
Yes.
They can be. They could be attracted to both. Yeah.
But only reason I say that because P literally is like, he's gay. What's such and such name? He's gay, so on and so forth. So P, were you meaning that like he, like you see him? You see him?
Because so when I do that, there's a difference. When I'm pointing people out, those are the ones that are pretending.
Yep, the down low.
When you'll say like, oh, he's bisexual. That's the same thing as me saying I'm bisexual, and y'all know damn well me bisexual. You sound stupid, right? But those are those same guys. They are gay. I know bisexual guys. You know bisexual guys. We don't have to point them out. They will date whatever they're gonna date. But the guys that are in the club that are like pushed up on a girl, or they just look severely feminine, like all the feminine energy in this chat right here combined times 10, but they're married, or they're like Tyler Perry.
Or there's masked gay men that are just hateful to women. Like I feel like the guys that post a lot of things like, oh, a woman should do this, and they just have all this hateful dialogue towards women. To me, that's gay. A lot of times I feel like their hate towards women is because they have an affection for men.
What would be an example of that?
I've seen that. I know what she's.
Yeah, I don't want to say like I don't want to give like examples because there's like people that are actually my friends that do that, but
You got to add context. This might be risky. It ain't nothing else.
no, I don't know, like any type of female bashing, like any type, like where you just don't, it just seems like they just don't enjoy women, like no matter what, they always they find some type of wrong in a woman in any capacity. They're always angry towards women, usually violent towards women. A lot of times those men are gay.
Could that just be like a more of a misogynistic type of personality, or maybe just a lack of respect?
There's that exists too, but there's a lot of men that are struggling with their sexual identity that take their anger out on women.
I think we got to be careful when we're saying a lot and most of and majority. Like we don't know these things. So
okay, well, there are men that.
There are men that.
Sure, but if you're saying that somebody who's bashing women in an aggressive way is gay,
no, not all. We're not talking about all.
Yeah, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
So for a prime example, the first one that comes to mind for me is Kevin Samuels, right? He's just always coming for women. And yes, he's giving his advice and so forth. And there are times when I agree with what he's saying, but it's the manner in which he chooses to do it. It's just like you have some type of hate. There's no compassion. There's no love. There's no softness.
Why does it have to be compassion? There's no compassion on the other end when women are bashing men. Men don't say, "Oh, women must be gay."
No. I think in Kevin Samuels' case, I think that he seems like a man that's scorned. You know what I mean? Just like has been wronged, and so he wants to prove, like stick it, like he wants to just be like, oh well, you guys always ask for this, so I'm gonna flip the script. He's one of those.
Why can't he just be a dude that's sharing his thoughts and opinions? Why he gotta be on the extra?
He can be. I'm just telling you my view of how I see him.
Corey, if you talk about women,
you got to be gay.
Talk about women the way they don't like. You got to.
I don't think that. I didn't say that.
I honestly think there's a.
I didn't say that.
There's a difference between talking, criticizing, commenting, and then obsession. If every word, if everything you have to say, and
that's his lane, though. That's his lane. His lane is the I give women advice lane. He gonna do that every show. That's what he does.
So the most men that give women advice are the gays.
Is Steve Harvey gay? Because he wrote some books on how to for women
to think like a man.
Is Steve Harvey gay? Okay, he's not. He's not. He gives women advice all the time. He's not gay. Like just because you give women advice,
he gives relationship advice. I don't think that he solely gives women advice.
Was Megan Good's husband gay?
If you're not giving women advice, like if you're not Derek Jackson giving women advice, you gay, right?
Right.
That's what we're trying to say. If you're not Derek Jackson advice level, you gay.
So
I don't think
they got tons of men out here giving women advice. They're not gay. Like,
Alex, did you say that?
That's
not what I
said. That's not what I said.
So
I would assume that Kevin Samuels is gay because of his mannerisms and the way he talks about women. So
he's sassy as hell. Yeah, he's sassy as hell.
Yeah.
It's a lot of spice.
He mad spicy.
Very.
Very. Maybe he was raised by his grandma. Like maybe.
Right. Because there's a whole lot of black men that are raised by single.
Let's go back to those labels. If he's mad,
hold up. This is what we do know. He has a kid, so we know he's participated in heterosexual relationships before.
So
do you know of any homosexual relationships he participated in? The answer is no.
I'm sorry.
Right. So he has a kid, so we know he participated in heterosexual relationship. But do you know of any homosexual relationships he participated in? The answer is no.
So does Flame Monroe.
Still think he's gay.
Drag queen.
There's so many people out there that are gay with whole husbands and wives.
And she says that she made them on her own with her male parts. This is do you know who Flame Monroe is?
Yes, the comedian.
Often.
I've seen a video. I've seen a commercial.
Yeah, she does comedy. But she makes it very clear when I made my children, I made them as with my male parts because I want to have kids. I still enjoy women.
I guess.
So that's a mute point. The whole fact.
The reason why that point isn't valid because Corey asked, Kevin Samuels had been married to 2 women before. Do you know of instances where he was messing with men of any kind? If not, you have to go with what you know, not what you're thinking.
But
We
okay,
haven't had it. No, I don't know anybody that's outed.
That's what he was saying. So how can you qualify him as being gay? Now I do agree with Q. His countenance might tell on him, right? But other than it, we're saying that because he delivers to women direct and it's concise and they don't like it, that's what makes him gay.
I think that some of his points are
some of his points are valid.
Some of his
No, I
points
don't
are
think
very
that makes
valid.
him gay because if you look at comedian Corey Holcomb's show, he does the same thing, but Corey's got way more masculine energy.
Yeah.
So it comes across as different. So that's why I said based on, Kevin Samuels giving all this bias, leg crossed and all this hand doing shit, that just gave me the impression.
He's sassy. He's definitely sassy.
So it's different.
Oh, he got to be over masculine. He got to be like presenting toxic masculinity.
Because black men have to be monolithic in their masculinity.
Yeah, he got to be like Corey Holcomb, bro. He got to wear tall tees and Timberland boots, bro. If
I have
his
no
nails done, he might be.
I'd be the first to say that I'm biased. You gotta be too something to do something. That's number one. Like there's just there's certain things. I'm biased. My bad, Corey. I know you said just 175 last week. My bad.
That's cool.
But there's certain things where everybody has a bias, right? Everybody has a bias. So in my opinion, when I'm looking at Kevin Samuels, he looks like a sassy man. It doesn't have anything to do with what he's saying about women. He just has a sassy appeal.
But this conversation was about labels and labeling people, and so I think
it's a great point to say that we are labeling him as a sassy man.
Okay.
Yeah, he literally seemed like the type that'll square up with a chick in a Walmart parking lot. Like,
So that's your problem.
Did she hit him first? Did she hit him first? I don't know.
So if that's his label, is that just what he's supposed to be accepted as? Because that's what y'all decide he's labels? Spicy.
Those are opinions. It doesn't make it fact.
But those are labels.
Labels are opinions. Labels are opinions. It doesn't make it fact, right?
Well, if you have sex with a man or a man goes down on you, you're gay. If it's a man and a man does that to you, you're gay.
Yeah, that's not an opinion.
I don't even think that bisexual exists for men, honestly, and it could be because of the construct in which we live. I've seen women go back and forth, start here and there, still want to go back, so on and so forth. And maybe obviously just coming from my perspective, but I don't think men can be bisexual. I think he's just probably gay.
Yeah. I think it also has to do with softness in the body of women too. You know what I mean? Like even if you're thinking about pornography, there's a lot of women that will watch porn for the sake of looking at another woman, but will never engage in a sexual activity with women. Women just are physically attractive. Like nobody's going checking for men usually. Like, well, besides you, okay. Like most of the time, people aren't looking like, okay, I want to go and see this man's body, right? Women's bodies are just naturally more attractive. Penises aren't attractive. Nobody's
Y'all hear this hate speech?
Like it.
Wait, what?
I don't know where these points of view are coming from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, y'all kind of all over the place. I think, even when you brought up Kevin Samuels, like it's a shame that the message gets lost in the delivery because if for some reason women don't prefer his delivery, I don't see anything wrong with it in particular.
Most things that come out of his mouth, I agree with. Most things. It's just the way that he chooses to say things. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
If you watch the whole live stream though, a lot of times it escalates. So what we often see is the clips, right? And then he doesn't allow women to talk to him any kind of way. So as soon as they escalate it, he goes to level 10 right along with them. They don't get to disrespect him on his platform. So when we see the clips, that's the stuff that sells.
But do y'all say the same thing for guys that argue with girls, like regular people?
Yes.
Or do y'all call him a bitch?
I call him a bitch.
Yes.
That's some
Yes.
bitch
What we
shit.
going back and forth for? Like, get out of here.
That's so crazy though. That's so crazy that you guys see. This is the problem. Like for
I've
instance,
seen him arguing with plenty of girls before.
mad girls, right? And here's the other thing. They better not act like they gonna hit me. Square up like they gonna hit me. But it's not gonna go how they think it's gonna go. So
Why
I
are
don't.
you put in that situation?
No, we were talking about the Bible and shit. So, but
You gonna stone her?
no. This one girl was literally like, we're talking about it, and I'm being nice to her, and she's like, "Oh man, I should punch you in your face." I said, "Girl, you punch me in my face, it's gonna be the last thing you see for the rest of the night." Like that's not a thing. Why do women think they get to call men a bitch, get in our faces, this, that, and the third, and then you expect nothing in return? It just makes very little sense. But that's what happens on Kevin Samuel's show. The women are getting out of line, and then he puts them back in line, and it's a problem. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I think respect, regardless of gender, should just, I mean, it's just respect, regardless of gender.
Right.
And I think that it does happen often where I've seen women get just out of pocket. Like, and sometimes they push the envelope more with men than they would with women because they feel like men aren't going to hit them back. So we know that exists.
Yeah. And why would you call a man a bitch though? Men don't say there's certain things men don't say. We don't tell each other suck my dick. We don't say that, and we don't call each other a bitch. Those things you can't do. But then women just feel like, oh, you're a bitch.
I mean, if you're doing bitch activity, then it's
assness. It's the thing.
Yeah. If you're doing bitch activity, now I'm not talking about just out of anger, when a woman is in an argument, oh, you know what, you bitch ass nigga. Like, no, we're not talking about that. But if you're legit doing bitch activity, that's valid.
Well, there's a difference between, to your point, Ham. There's a difference between what men consider disrespect and what women consider disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm not gonna say suck my dick to another man or nigga you a bitch because I know what that brings. That's you automatically agree and we go into the next level of conflict.
Yeah.
But I don't think women have that same understanding of respect or disrespect. So when they use words or terms that we wouldn't do, it's not the same as what we would use it as. You understand what I mean? Like a woman calling a man a bitch isn't an acceptance of the next level of conflict. A woman calling a man a bitch is a woman calling a man a bitch.
Let me phrase just to make sure I'm understanding and we clarify. So, like let's just use the people we have, right? Like P can say bitch, right? Not just casually, right? When talking to women, and it's fine. Are you saying that would be like kind of like synonymous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can't look at it in the same way as you and I calling each other a bitch because we know where that goes.
Right.
A man calling a woman a bitch is way more disrespectful than a woman calling a man a bitch. And a woman's
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I also look at it like this too, right? So, and for the record, I've only had maybe in my entire life 2 women tell me that they did not like when I said bitch. When they first met me, they were offended, and I was like, I literally call I say bitch more than I say nigga. It is genderless. It is a word. But I also look at it as this. So guys can fight. We do fight. You can't hit a woman. She can't beat you. So the only thing she's going to use is the words that she had to hurt you the same way you would hurt the next nigga that said the same shit to you. That is a woman's way of escalating, right? Now there are those that fight. But again, if we're looking at a power dynamic and the separation, that's what's going to happen.
Oh
yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, if women thought that if I called this man a bitch and that was an agreement to go to the next level of conflict, they wouldn't use the word like that.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't. Because
women also handle conflict differently. Like we will go back and forth and argue, right? We'll go back and forth. Men, y'all aren't going to do that. There's only going to be but so much talking we're going to do, if any at all. So I think that's the difference between the two. I have found, and there are some situations where with men, and I've seen them argue, and I could be like, I can tell you around a lot of women in your life because you sit here and you will go back and forth with me. I've definitely seen that, and I'm sure some of you all can attest to that. You can tell like this certain male is around a lot of females, or he grew up with a lot of them in his life because he will sit there and go back and forth, and he didn't have that male or as strong of a male figure in his life, because most men naturally are just going to walk away. They're going to walk away. So I agree with that. Like, when a woman is starting to go back and forth and we're saying things, we're not trying to automatically get physical, versus when it's two men together and they're going to go decide, okay, you say this, there's no in between, we're going to fight. It's going to get physical. So there
And
is a difference. It's not
that's
right.
That's
But it
spot
is
on,
what it is.
Alex. I'm 100 with you. That's spot on. The problem is that women want men to turn that natural switch off when it comes to a woman. That's a natural thing. Like Pierre said, men fight, boys fight. We've been fighting since we 3-4 years old. But when it comes to women, they want to be able to say whatever they want to say, but turn that level of conflict off. And that's
I
that's
don't agree
that's
with that.
Yeah.
that's
You're right.
that's dangerous. You know?
I agree. Yeah.
So, question Q: If a woman spit on a man, we should knock her ass out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page with that.
That's mad disrespectful.
That's
Mad
crazy, right?
disrespectful.
About that.
Spit is super disrespectful, but
Yeah.
I'm telling my son to knock her ass out.
Knock
If a girl spit on my son, knock her ass out. She won't do it again.
That's straight. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Any final thoughts on the topic from 20 minutes ago?
Yes, don't let these niggas peg you, sis. Or don't let. Don't
Yeah.
peg these
I
niggas.
mean, if
Don't
you
do
into
that.
it, you should go ahead and get
No,
your
sir.
man into it.
He got some tendencies, no sir.
Next topic.
Dating. I am all about rotation. Oh, you got a rotation?
Everything you're doing, yeah, that's how I like it. You know what you're doing.
So how are you? Good. Good. I'm very good. Out here doing my thing.
We're all doing great things. Look at Kelly. Look at you getting fit. Look at Molly taking names. Look at Issa.
You're almost there. You got it.
Girl, you know what?
That's how I like it. That's how I like it.
All right. So now the key to that one was this whole phase. Right. If you remember that episode, that was early on as well. You know, she was going through it. Well, what's her boyfriend name? Lawrence. And she said F it, right? So she went to the tall, skinny, dark skinned girl, and said, you know, how do you teach me how to hoe or something like that? And she's like, girl, how? Yes, of course I will. Something like that, right? So, question is, do women think that this whole phase is necessary? Do women think the whole phase is necessary? Now, it's pinpointed because my personal belief, I don't think men can be hoes. So, do women think that this whole phase is necessary? Aisha, we'll start with you.
I don't think it's necessary, but it happens. Especially if you say men can be hoes, you're gonna match your energy.
No, I said men can't be hoes.
They can't, okay, then women can't either.
Huh?
Bruh.
Women can't be hoes either.
So your response is if men can't be hoes, then women can't be hoes. But if men can be hoes, then women can't be hoes?
Men are hoes. But I don't think it's necessary, but it happens.
Explain that to me, please.
I guess what you would call it is a double standard. But if he's out here doing hoe activities, then I'm going to treat him like a hoe.
Can women be hoes, and is the whole phase necessary?
Women can't be hoes. They can be sexually fluid and sexually.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
All right.
And it's not necessary. That phase is not necessary.
Mute yourself for 10 seconds. Amora, can I get an answer, please?
I think, first of all, you're only a hoe if people know. That's cool. You're only a hoe if people know. If people don't know, you're not a hoe.
That's not true.
If people don't know, you're not. So how you gonna call somebody a hoe if you don't know about it?
You was still a hoe. I just didn't know
Well,
yet.
You don't know that?
Once it get revealed, once it get revealed to
no,
me, I'm gonna go back retroactively and label you a hoe for.
That's a label.
no,
That's a label.
there's
That's a
cool.
label.
There's
Yeah, I'm cool
cool.
with labels. I like
What if
labels. Labels
what
help
if the
us
whole
do
facts
things.
don't check up?
Like,
you
so
don't
there's
got the whole
rules
facts, you
to
don't know.
like. There's just having fun, but then there's whole shit, right? Like whole shit is crew loving. You can't crew love. Like that's whole shit.
What is just having fun? What does that mean? What does that even mean?
Being like, I guess there's just like being single. I don't know, because I skipped the whole phase. I was in a relationship from 15 to 34, so I skipped the whole shit. So I mean, I'm missing.
You just
Like I
not
don't
get
know.
into it?
I tried it. I was like, okay, I'm about to go do my whole shit, but I'm like, I like this nigga, and I kept him. So it didn't work out.
Okay.
So
I thought I was about to do some whole shit, and it didn't happen that way. But I think whole phase are looking back. I would have liked to have a whole phase. I would have liked to be able to be whole phase is just being single, being able to date, being able to not be committed to anybody, and figuring out what you like, right?
Nah, that's actually
And
not what
that's
the whole
what I
face
think.
is.
I think when in this context that Nick was using for Issa was, I need to get out there and explore. It wasn't necessarily doing whole shit. Whole shit is crew loving, fucking in the same crew, fucking in the same night, multiple people, just out there looking wild. That's whole shit. This whole phase that she's talking about is just being single, dating freely without any commitments.
but she was fucking though.
I didn't say not fucking. I said being free, being free, being able to date freely without any commitments. So if you go on a date and you decide that this is going well and you want to, fuck,
But
then you
dating and fucking are two
just
different
being
things.
done
You can
safely.
date all you want.
Question real quick. Tamora, yes or no? Does body count matter?
No, not with adults.
All right, go ahead, Aisha. Close.
No, let the girls go first before we.
I
Alex,
just
you
want
go ahead.
I want a definition of what a hoe is.
Yeah, I think there's whole shit and then there's whole phase. Like whole shit is different. Like you're just out there just looking crazy.
The whole phase is the phase of doing whole shit.
Okay, explain what whole shit is
My whole shit.
to a man.
Having sex with multiple men in proximity, a volume of men, men that know one another,
right?
And then you got the obvious shit like train. Well, that was one point. That was the third point I made. Also train action, like all the stereotypical items. Also,
That's whole shit. That's whole shit. That's not. But that's not.
but also whole shit would be. What if you having sex with like 2 or 3 men, right, in the same month, right? For women, people going inside of you, that's some whole shit. That would be your whole phase.
I agree.
You said three niggas in a month, so 3 niggas in 30 days, 1 nigga every 10 days is a hoe. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still a boy. It don't count for you.
It doesn't matter. I'm about equity. And first of all, it does count because I'm not fucking anybody, but that's another conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you think, P? Yeah, nigga.
I'm confused as a question. We didn't have 13 of them. So what's the actual question?
So is the whole phase necessary for women?
Absolutely. Because again, I'm about equity, right? I'm about equity, to be honest. But how do you expect somebody to blindly commit if they don't know shit? Like, go explore yourself, explore your body, explore these niggas, explore these bitches if you choose to. But like, hell yeah. Now if you fucking multiple niggas every day, back to back to back, like if you're doing that, like that's absolutely it's trash.
I mean, it's disgusting,
but like again, 3 niggas in a month, that ain't shit. Niggas fuck multiple bitches daily, have babies and skeeting bitches daily. So like, if you can't, community dick is also a bad thing.
Yeah.
And won't no girl up here tell you that it's not.
Because what if she has them on a rotation? What
does that mean?
A
She's
rotation.
she's in
This
her.
nigga wasn't available, or this is the type of mood I'm feeling tonight, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get with this person.
Yeah, that sound like whole shit. Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, if you got a rotation of niggas, you definitely.
Three of them feel
So do you think that women should not have rosters, or is that whole shit?
Yeah.
Like
If
women
you got a
with
roster
rosters
of people you sleeping with, you probably
no, just rosters, just period. There's a roster could be somebody you go out to dinner with. Then there's
Alright,
the
then,
person
if you going out to
that
dinner,
that dicks you
yeah.
down. Then there's the person that you hang out with.
We not.
Those are rosters.
You convoluting. We stand whole phase, whole shit. So if the roster includes you having sex with your whole roster,
So you're fucking everybody. What you're saying is that whole shit, or just hanging out with, like going dating
right,
multiple
hanging out
men?
is fine. I mean, hanging out is not what we're including.
So for some women, I think the whole phase is necessary. For some women want that, and that's okay. I do agree with Tamora. I mean, does it really count? It doesn't count if people don't know. I think if
Yes,
you're
it
being sloppy with
does.
your actions, if you're being sloppy
Yes,
with
it
your
does.
actions, what
You're
We
only
just
a
we just talked about the last topic we just talked about. Does that count if you don't know?
Corey.
Exactly.
I said what I
So
said.
what you
I
don't
said what
know
I
it
said.
still count.
I said what I said.
Yeah, it does. It does. If nobody knows that you're getting topped off by your boy, then we don't know. We don't know. We assume that you are just a heterosexual male. We don't know that you're getting dick down. We don't know.
It counts.
We are going to accept you as you present.
So
right, you only
So
gay
now,
if
so
people
now you wait. So now you a hoe and you dishonest. You a terrible female.
You
So-
asked does the last thing apply, and we're saying no, because if you're getting dick down by your boy, if you Corey are getting dick down by your boy and you're a married man and
Hey,
we
don't say
don't
that
know,
again.
we
Don't
know
say
you
that
as a
again.
married
I'm listening. Can you say it one more time? Can you repeat that?
It's
Cut that.
you asked me the question and I answered it. So if you're getting
No.
dick down,
Please
we're not
no.
going to judge you because we don't know. We can't label you.
Dick down.
So
You're getting dick down.
So here's the problem sometimes. I don't know what this tactic is that women think works, but we're no longer fooled. Avoidance doesn't get you out of answering the question. Well, yeah, but y'all like, well, if they don't know, you
Okay, but I answered
They
the
don't know,
question.
it
You
don't count.
said, do women think
They
the
don't
whole
know.
phase
I ain't
is
really no hoe.
necessary? I
Do
said,
you think that the
for
whole
some
phase,
women,
whole
it
phase is
is.
necessary? And I guess it depends on how you label whole phase, but I think that you should explore and date multiple people. Absolutely.
Okay. So Alex, you said it's necessary. Q, come on. Bring this shit back home, please.
First off, there's no comparison to men and women, right? Have had sex with multiple women. Like it is different, and I know that sucks. There is a difference. A woman sleeping with multiple men, like Hamp said, having multiple men inside. Like, all right, for example, if a nigga fucks multiple bitches in one night, he just gotta clean his dick. He's good. If a woman has niggas in her, like that, like come on, y'all, that shit different. So it's like, is it necessary? I don't think it's necessary for women to go through a whole phase in the pursuit of a relationship. Because if you're trying to pursue a relationship in the end, you're devaluing yourself by the time you get to the person you're supposed to be with. Now, if you're dating and just going out, having dinner, meeting with people, that's different. If you fucking everybody along the way of that dating, that shit is so fucking unnecessary. So
right,
yeah,
so it's about if you're fucking and what's happening in this whole phase. So dating multiple people is what in Issa's case she was calling a whole phase. So we have to use the example that was given. So we're using the example of Issa being in her whole phase, which was just going out and dating multiple people and just being
Nah, she smashed a couple. She smashed a couple of dudes.
No,
she smashed a couple dudes in that.
She fucked one
She
guy.
smashed Daniel. She smashed the dude from downstairs. No, she smashed the dude
But
from
that was
downstairs.
after they broke up. That was after they broke up.
No. So she was dating and fucking multiple people in a short time period, right? The breakup doesn't matters not, right? What she was doing with her body and with these men is what put her in her whole phase.
Right.
But her elasticity was intact because all the niggas came. So what's up?
What?
Put him in the fucking bus. Get him out of here.
You can't excuse that. It's just there's certain areas in life where men and women are not comparable, and there is no double standard. That's just my opinion.
I agree with that. I don't think that we're comparing men against women, but I do think the question was should women explore and should women, in my opinion, date multiple people or or this whole phase. Now, should you fuck everybody that you encounter? Absolutely not. Should you explore and go on multiple dates and not commit to one person while you're exploring? Sure, that's okay. But again, it matters about character. It matters how you present yourself and how you're carrying yourself. Now, you can't just, there's nothing wrong with dating multiple people. You should not fuck every person that you go on a date with. But if you go on a date Monday through Sunday, that's okay.
Yeah, dating has nothing to do with the whole phase. The whole phase is more about the sexual activity. Yeah, it's about the sexual activity.
Then maybe I have the wrong definition of what whole phase is.
Well,
yeah, the sexual activity
is about sex. It's not about the number of men you know, the number of men phone numbers you got. It's about the number of men you having sex with. So I think the term "hoe" is really about sexual activity, not about.
I saw somebody wrote a comment. I agree with, like, you shouldn't be fucking multiple people if you're looking. If what you say you want as a relationship, then no, you should be fucking.
Right.
I agree with that.
But if you want to be a hoe, just be a hoe. Like.
Are you looking?
But it's not necessary.
Do your thing.
Is it necessary? No.
No, it's not necessary.
But is it fun?
I don't know. I tried it and
nobody want to answer that one. Okay.
I tried it. I was ready. I was ready. I had my whole shit on. I had my whole bag packed, and I was like, you know what? I like this nigga. We keeping him, and that's how that happened. You know what I mean? Like, if I like somebody, there's no need to keep trying. That's it.
So, question. We keep on saying, like, you know, date, get experience, right? Go through these phases, but dating unintentionally, is that actually good experience? Because that's essentially what we're kind of saying, like, use it, explore. But if you're dating without intention, all experience isn't good experience, right? So if you practice something wrong for a long time, you're going to play in a game and do it wrong. So now we're saying women right now in this particular topic, but men too, right? But women are predominantly being unmarried and being alone later in life, in terms of black men and women. So are we championing dating unintentionally? Q, what do you think?
Are you talking about like how popular this, as the kids say, sneaky links, whatever that pertains to? Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm dating. Anytime that I date, most of the time it's going to be with intention. I ain't sneaking with nobody. I'm not like, so that's what you mean. Like you're dating with the purpose to turn this into something.
Well, I know we say, like, you know, you get experience in your 20s, but this experience, how viable is it to the real thing? Because we're saying some women need to go through a whole phase. This is necessary. You should be able to explore, so on and so forth. But how valuable is that experience if it's not the actual experience you need to be successful in a real relationship when you know you have no intentions?
It's valuable because you learn what you don't like. Mm-hmm. You know what you know once you get there. Like, listen, I know I don't like this. I know that the person that I settled down with, this is not going to be okay. I don't like this. Or, you know what? I really love this particular. I love the way that you know, the person that I was dating made me feel when he or she did X, Y, and Z. I know that I want this particular quality in my partner. If you don't experience that, you don't know what you want. Right? You take the first thing that makes you feel good, but it may not be the right thing for you. But if you have multiple experiences, you can say, all right, I experienced this. I didn't like that so much. I experienced this. I really, really enjoyed that. And then you pull from all of these people and you find that one person that has nobody's going to have all the qualities, but most of them. And then you settle down with them.
Okay. So now I kind of agree, except for the fact that when you meet the person you're supposed to be with, a lot of those things that you weren't willing to negotiate before because it was the wrong person don't exactly apply. What do you think about that?
I think that's true.
So that experience of what you don't want, when you meet that person that meets the criteria, but also pushes those buttons that you can't quite put your finger on, A lot of those things that you didn't want, you might be willing to kind of forego or negotiate.
When it comes to personality or like, I think that's more so. I think that you could overlook physical things, right? Like you could say, you know what, I want a woman that looks like X, Y, and Z, or I want a man that's 6 feet, that has this, that's two-some, that has hair, that got a good hairline, that has this. But if they have other qualities that compensate for those things, you're willing to let that go. But I don't
Right.
think that you're gonna let personality, morals, you're not gonna turn a blind eye to those things.
Okay. So Q, what do you think? Do you think dating unintentionally is something that we should be championing?
No, I don't think we should be championing anything that's done without an intention. Because now you're just navigating blindly. That's stupid.
Okay.
I think everything should have an intention or a purpose. So, but I will say this. I think that we're moving into that era now. A lot of us here might be a little bit more old school, but I do definitely see through, social media posts and where a lot of stuff is going that we're moving right into that.
Yeah. Corey?
I don't know, man. I think I see some benefit in like just I would say dating without intention, or like the experience that I had of like dating with no intention. Um, I think you're just gaining experience from interacting with women and how to deal with women will be valuable like in the future. You could tell when dudes who never had a lot of chicks like get a chick, like they don't know how to navigate that situation. And I think they would have been better off if they had more experience with women. Even though it may not help with maybe like some relationship things, but just like how to deal with women, how to interact with them, just how to navigate the whole thing. I know you know what I'm talking about. Huh? You can see with dudes who never got chicks like get a chick, they be fucking it up.
Yeah, so I think you're right. We've seen that and we kind of clowned them, right? For not knowing how to manipulate women, how we know how to manipulate them, right? How to be to convey intentionality while knowing that we're unintentional, right? Because that's really the games that we play.
All right.
But how valuable is that, right? If we've been playing soccer, now we go to play football because the relationship seems to be football to a lot of people. Where everybody watches football in America by and large, right? So you think you know what's going on, but when you actually have to play football, we know, especially 90% of people don't know how to play football at all. And I think that's what happens with all these unintentional dates and going, oh, it's a free meal, this, that, and the third. How valuable is this? Because we're remaining unmarried. We're regressing in that aspect. Alex, what you think?
I think I agree with what everyone is saying, but I think if we're honest, I don't think that people are upfront about what their intentions are. I think some people just want to have a casual sexual relationship, and that's okay. But if that's what you want, then just say that. Don't proceed to date this person, to take them out, to do this, that, and the third, if that's really all you wanted. If you are looking for someone to just hang out with, kick it, have a good time, and possibly see where that's going to go, then say that. I think the issue is that people are not being upfront and honest with themselves. So they get into these situations and then they're just like, well, I guess we'll see where it goes. And a lot of times people stay in situations, a lot of times women, we stay in situations longer than what we thought it was because it's just like, well, he told me he didn't want to have anything serious. We're just in a situationship, and then you end up we look years down the line, and then it's just like, well, what are we doing? We get into that phase. So again, I'm very strong in the sense of when it comes to dating, when I think of dating, I think of you are looking for your potential lifelong partner. And if you feel that in the beginning phases of us talking that I'm not the one for you, let's be clear about that. Let's stop pretending that this is going to change. Let's just end it. And then also not play with people. If you are not looking for anything serious, just say that. Just say that. You don't have to sit here and play these games. There are plenty of other people who just want casual sex as you do.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Go ahead, Corey. Say it.
Well, first off, I think the whole like guys should be honest up front. Like if you just want casual sex, just say that don't work.
Not just guys, but women too.
But women too. Yeah. Women too.
I don't know if that's the game plan for fellas to actually get some sex. But yeah, I think I don't think it's necessarily like at the point where you realize that this ain't going any further. 'Cause I don't know if you ever really know when that point is, right? Because things could always change. You know, you can say after the first week, I don't see this going nowhere, but then maybe a month later, maybe you do see it going somewhere. So I don't think you could just announce, hey, after week one, I don't see this going nowhere. Let's just chill. Like you got to kind of play things out sometime and see where they go.
Yeah, but I think that you should put a cap on it, right? Like if you're dating somebody, you go on a few dates, you've hung out a few times, you've seen things, you felt this person out, and you come to this conclusion that they might be feeling you a little more than you're feeling them. You're gonna have to draft an email, like one of those emails, and saying, "Hey, listen, it's been fun, it's been real, I've enjoyed hanging out with you, but this ain't really where I'm at." And I think that's for both men and women. I mean, I think now people just ghost each other, but I usually draft like some kind of HR email and just say thank you for your time.
We've had a record number of applicants.
I
Unfortunately,
won't ghost
and we're not
anybody. I
moving
always
forward.
send like an HR email. It's been good hanging out with you. I've appreciated your time, but this isn't the direction that I'm going in.
I will say anytime that I've ever ghosted somebody, it's either because I don't respect them or I just feel like, they're not worth it's basically the same thing. I just feel like they're not worthy of me having a conversation with them.
Right.
So I think that's one of the most disrespectful things that you can do to somebody is just
ghost them.
Yeah. No, there's no need to do that. You could draft
Nah,
a little.
ghosting is necessary sometimes. Sometimes that's a hard conversation to have with somebody who you don't really like, who you barely just know. Y'all
So
know
if you're
that
not
too.
adult enough to have the conversation, then why are you engaging?
It's a hurtful conversation to tell somebody, "Hey, I just don't like you." Like,
No, it's not. It's the way that you present it. It doesn't work out. It didn't work out. I enjoyed your company. I
And
appreciate
if you
hanging
trying
out
to
with you.
spare everybody's feelings, that is how people get dragged along situations.
Right.
When
So
we
with that
see
relationship,
and we get surprised when they're having these feelings.
That's everybody that's not honest with themselves, right? I'm gonna play the game. You can't hide around. I don't want to hurt your feelings. If I don't like you, I don't like you.
Yeah.
There's somebody for you, sure.
Right.
You could be as point and say, "It's not you, it's me." I don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah.
But if you ghost me, it's just kind
You
of
have to
like
say something.
I mean,
so.
but
that's
what
childish and disrespectful.
Corey said, you don't even know the person. You had one date. You might have got some cheeks. Like you saying, you owed him a conversation.
No,
Ghosting doesn't always happen from that.
What's the conversation? I'm not interested.
No, I mean, but you know why you have to do that? Because there's no intentions, right? And that's circling back, right? You don't got no intentions. I didn't have no intentions to begin with, but now I owe you an explanation.
No, it's not. It's just common courtesy, right?
Right.
Like,
correct.
Even when so for example, even if somebody texts you by mistake, you'd be like, you know what, sir, you have the wrong number. You're gonna respond back. I mean, it's just because it's a common courtesy. It's just a kind thing to do. You went out with this person. You don't want to leave them hangry. You don't want to leave them
It's the
wondering.
adult thing to do.
It's the
It is
adult
the
thing to do.
adult
It's
thing
the
to do.
mature thing to do. Hey, I had a good time with you. We had fun the other night, but you know what? I'm not really looking for anything right now. It's been cool, but
well, they're gonna say, "Why didn't you tell me that before I gave myself to you? Why didn't you?"
But again,
that's on you. That's on you. You
That's
should
on
have been
you.
on the first date. That's on you. I mean, we're
That's
not.
on
Don't.
you.
Yeah, that's on you.
I would say early 20s, the two people that I ghosted, I had multiple interactions with them. So it wasn't just like a one night stand kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was disrespectful on my part to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think also back to your intentionality thing, like people start dating in high school. You can't say that my 17, 18-year-old self, yes, I'm looking for marriage at 18, and I'm going to start all my dating experiences that way. That's not logical. Now, people do that, and those are the ones that end up in divorce because when they hit 30, and it's like, oh shit, there's a whole world out there. I've never stepped outside. Let me do that. Now, should you date with intention? Should we promote that later on in life? Yes. What does that look like for everybody? Very different. But if you can't start, like all your experiences, like life is a building block. You start with the bullshit. You figure out what you like, what you don't like, and as you move forward and progress in your maturity, then you can start to say that this is what I'm going to start doing now.
Yeah.
But you can't just start off that way. Nobody starts at the top. Nobody says, I'm going to be the most successful person today.
I think that's fair. However, geriatric pregnancies at 35, right? I know a couple women where you have sex with the wrong nigga. Now the man you really want, you can't have because he knows somebody that know you from whenever you did what you did, thinking that your 20s was to play around,
That's the worst.
right? So now, right, we're saying like, yeah, like building no. So in actuality, I think there's been more time in the past where people have gotten married younger than didn't. That's kind of a slightly modern trend, because what are we getting when we're doing these things without any intention? So again, I'm asking, are we champion whole phases? Are we champion exploring? Are we champion dating and getting experience without intention? I just need to know. Corey, yes or no?
Uh, I'm not championing the whole phase for women or for necessarily for men. So no, I'm not championing the whole phase. But I do champion frequent dating, but not sleeping, not the sex part of it. I
Okay.
think you should date a lot of people to see who and what you like, but you don't have to sleep with all of them. That's what I'm doing.
Alex?
I think you're gonna do what you feel is necessary, but whatever you choose to do, whether it is whole phase or not, I hope whoever that individual is, you have to be honest with yourself to say, can you handle this? Can you handle somebody coming up and just being like, yo, it was just some sex? Are you okay with that? Can you accept that if they're not interested in you the way that you are?
Each.
I wouldn't champion the whole phase, but I do have a niece who is in a relationship and she's 17 years old. And my opinion is don't get too serious now. You're going to go to college and, you're going to meet different people and you're going to be able to learn different things and see what you really like. So I wouldn't say I'm pushing her into a whole phase, but definitely exploring and meeting people.
Enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm.
Enjoy yourself adds to your body count and it leaves you unmarried, but okay.
But enjoy yourself also, Ham, does not necessarily mean sex. Enjoy yourself or hanging out.
Oh, date unintentionally? Got it. Gotcha. Okay.
That's what people do in college, though.
It's college.
Okay. I mean, college might not be the right path because we're going to college, we still ain't making more money, and we still remaining unmarried.
Who's not making more money? And marriage is not always the goal.
But you got 6 jobs. You don't get tired.
Who? Yes, I have 6 jobs because I choose to. I make 6 figures off of one.
Hey, look. Now remember, P, you're in the top 10. He's in the top 10% of men, right? If you do 40, I think there's 20 million black men, so that's 1.4 million black men, and then you have to take out. So let's say for the women, right? P's in the top 10% making 100,000, right? So that's a million black men.
Is like, what is that one? It's like 180 and up, right? It's not just 100,000 because that's
No, it's 100,000 and up.
Just
so
100 even.
Yeah. So it's like 1.2 million men because I think there's 20 million black men.
Poverty.
Right, 1.2 million black men. But then you have to. So for women, right? A lot of women want that. A lot of women want that top 10%. But then if you take out our gay population, then you take out the men that are already married. It's 20 million black women fighting over 500,000 men. Right? And then you don't racked up your body count. You done talk to a bunch, because even if a chick comes, right, and Corey went out on a date with her, I'm not gonna talk to her. Like I wouldn't it wouldn't. So even though you're just having fun, even if you interact with the wrong dude, it's a wrap. And the population that you want is already very small.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right, so shout out to Kadiatu. She sent me this topic. I thought it was dope. It's kind of one of those forever arguments, Shout out to John B. Shout out to Tyrese, Wesley Snipes. Who's another light skinned dude I could use?
Wesley Snipes is not light
Wesley Snipes. What?
Need another light skin. I went back and forth. I did.
Okay.
Went Tyrese, then I went Wesley, and then Denzel don't count, but you catch my drift. So
Shamar Moore, Michael Ealy, them light skinned niggas.
who do the cheap CBS shows, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, colorism. All right, this was a thing where we kind of joke about it, but how serious is it? So is colorism still affecting the black community? Is colorism still affecting the black community? Pierre, what you think?
Oh, we're gonna start with me today. Yes, yes, it is. Um, and I don't know how much of it is all internal versus, I guess, environmental. So like, anytime something goes wrong, especially and you see it amongst women, really, it's the light skinned girls. It's always light skinned girls and dark skinned girls, back and forth, back and forth. If the light skinned girl didn't get it, it's whatever. But if the dark skinned girl doesn't get it, it's all my life I had to fight. It happens with guys too. I never knew this, but I've had guy friends tell me like, oh, like my dark skinned friends, I think I'm dark skinned, like I'm brown skinned, whatever. But my dark skinned friends like, no, you're light and you don't deal with what we deal with. Like people don't look at us the same. I'm just like, that's dumb. I'm brown. Everybody brown. But yeah, long story short, yes, it's a problem.
Okay, Pete, what you think, Corey?
I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal in society nowadays. I think it's overblown. They gotta, I think there's a few people that like participate or spread those types of things, and they get like looked at as like the majority, even though it's only like a handful of people that really subscribe to that kind of stuff, man. I think overall, I just don't see it being an issue in my experience. So no, I don't think it's an issue today.
Aisha?
I think it still exists. I've had a guy who preferred darker skinned women tell me that I wasn't dark enough. So it goes both ways.
Do you think that that's more of an outlier, like anecdotal?
No.
Okay. Like usually it's the other way. Like, and I think our evidence is music videos, stuff like that, where it's usually lighter skinned women. So that's why I ask.
But I think and I've seen this a lot too. A lot of lighter skinned men prefer darker women, just like a lot of darker skinned men prefer lighter women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see that trend.
So tomorrow, is it still affecting us? Colorism?
Absolutely. But I also think it depends when you're talking about dating or just in general. I think it depends on region too, right? Like, so I don't know where everybody else is from, but like being in Connecticut, I grew up in a town where like Spanish women were the popular thing. Like black women just were never the it thing, at least where I grew up. I didn't have such a negative experience. One, I didn't date. I was always the homie. I'm a clown and whatever. And then I started dating really early. So I was already taken out of that category. But unless you had a certain look, you know, unless you had a European look, you know, you were thin or you had certain hair type or you dressed a certain way, black women weren't being checked for at all. I don't know anyone in my immediate friend base in Connecticut. I think at the time when I was married, there was only one other couple that was black or that had another guy that had a black wife, and she wasn't even black. She was biracial. I knew nobody else outside of my sister that had black husband and wife or black relationship dynamic. It just doesn't exist up here. And I don't think it's because black men aren't attracted up here aren't attracted to black women. I think it's because the variety or the choice that they have. Now, if you go down south, you have a choice of a variety of black women that are intelligent, that are educated, that are beautiful, that are taken care of. You know, we just don't have that same population. So I think that it depends on region. But does it affect us? Absolutely.
So you're saying that because black men have Hispanic women to choose from, because that's what it is up at home for the most part in terms of who people date, and they choose the Hispanic women, right? Is that even worse? Or is that exactly saying that we still have an issue with this? That they
I
don't
think,
see our women as beautiful.
but how many black women in our immediate community? The community is small up here, right? So you have like these small towns, and they're intersectional. So you have about 10 bad black women, and all that, like, out of these 10 women, everybody dates everybody. So like you go back to crew loving, my homie already dated her, and it's the same 10 black women that are being cycled. Right? There's just not enough black families up here for you to have black relationships.
Hmm.
So if you don't lock down the few women that are available, then you're gonna have to go to something else. Now, as soon as somebody steps out of their district, they leave Connecticut, they go to DC, they go to New York, even they go to New Jersey, they start saying, okay, well, now I'm interested in black women. So I don't
So
know
then
if
it
it's
wasn't. So then it wasn't about colorism. It was about
I
availability.
don't know that it was exactly. So I don't know that it's always about colorism more so than availability for black men.
And are we saying black as in the entire diaspora or black as in black American?
American.
You have
Okay,
to say
so
black
what?
American because black American men are the only one that struggle with colorism. I
Right.
think
So I didn't meet all of my friends back in Connecticut. We were all like all of our families were from somewhere else. So I'm Cape Verdean. All my family is Cape Verdean. My friends are Brazilian, my friends are Jamaican, West Indian, whatever the case may be. So there's already an exotic look to all of those categories. So I saw that. But if you're talking about like Black American, like yeah, my family came here or moved up here from North Carolina or something. I didn't meet people from that weren't. I didn't meet Black Americans, quote unquote, that were just based in America until I went to college in Atlanta. Everybody I know back in Connecticut is something exotic, if you want to call it. Mind you, we've all been born in Connecticut, but like that is what it is. So
then
what
where
you
did you
see
live?
is,
You probably lived in Windsor, Bloomfield, or where?
no, I'm from Hamden. I'm from the 203.
Okay, so then that's also a black community, right? Hamden, Windsor, Bloomfield, Middletown, even they're their own community of black folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I do think so. Back to your question of is colorism still a thing? I think that it's based on availability, not so much color right now.
Yeah.
Before, I think it was more of an issue, but I think if we're talking about in 2021 going into 2022, I think it's based on availability.
Okay. Now my experience is a little bit different, coming from the same demographic where a lot of the guys thought that the other women were just more prettier. Honestly, were more attractive than black women, right? They don't have the this is stereotypical terminology, but beady beads, and they don't be ashy and all that stuff, right?
It
So
also, do you think that has to do with social
colorism,
economics or color?
I think it's like they literally don't see their women as beautiful because
Like,
it
are you
is
saying
could be,
hood,
could be
hood
better.
girls? Like, you know what I mean? There's a difference in social economics because if you don't have the money to get your hair done, we know black women, they cost, the maintenance. And if you can't keep yourself up, you might look a little rough around the edges. That's just the way it is,
Well,
regardless of what color you are.
kinda, but also when straight hair is deemed to be acceptable and beautiful, right? Um, they're looking for that already, right? And so black women don't naturally have that. And now it's a colorism thing. When they see the Hispanic girl that has that, she has some hue as well. She can get tan a little bit, but she's going to be lighter, right? The men are saying, "Oh, this is less attractive than just not just, but just a black woman."
Very true. Being that we are both from Middletown, I Corey, don't do that. I think to answer your first question, yes, colorism still exists. I know my personal experience being at home, I did not embrace being a black girl until I went to college in the DMV area and went to an HBCU. And I was definitely told that if you weren't as light skinned, I don't think I would have liked you because they prefer Spanish looking, what they prefer Hispanic women. And, being Caribbean, we all look very different, but as we were speaking of in the Black American community, colorism does exist. It wasn't until I came to college to where I embraced my natural hair. Well, I was able to, but I don't have to have a perm. I don't have to have this. That we are beautiful in all different shades. When I look at television and society, typically you saw in like videos, they portray the ambiguous looking women. It's not Black women, it's the ambiguous looking women. Even in the Hispanic culture, it's the white Hispanics that you see on television that are deemed to be beautiful. So colorism doesn't just exist in the Black American community. It exists among Black people in general. But again, like just speaking as to being at home, I definitely personally experienced well, you're Black, but I like you only because you're light skinned, but I prefer X, Y. It was not until I went around people who were around all Black people their entire life where they appreciated the beauty of Black women, where they appreciated the beauty of all shades, all different hair, all different body types. So it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, I've had darker skinned Black women not be like, you know what, girl, we're friends, but I don't want to hang out with you because you're on the lighter hue. I'm like, first of all, I'm brown. Like I thought I was brown up until I work from home, so I'm a little on the lighter side. But I always felt like I was brown skinned. But for my friends that were of a darker hue, they would say, you know what, we're not gonna really rock with you. We cool, but I don't want to go out with you to the club, or I don't want to go out with you to happy hour because I feel like you're going to get more attention. So I would have friends say, like, I don't want to hang out with you specifically because you're on the lighter scale. I already know what type it is. I'm not going to get the attention. And so maybe I don't have the same experience as maybe browner women than I do. But I've experienced it as a friend where brown women have said, you know what, you my girl, but we're not going out to happy hour with you. We're not going to go out to a club with you.
Where does it? So I think some of like what I hear y'all saying and stuff that I seen a music video that had light skinned chicks in there. Colorism is still a thing. Like I don't really think that that's a great example. I think especially like I know like in my real life, I have a ton of Black male friends, and none of us date anything other than Black women. Like there aren't any other.
Where were you?
Where are you from?
Brought up?
I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I live in DC now.
That does not count.
Wait, that's two different. Wait, so I live in Baton Rouge, I live in Houston, Texas, and I live in DC now. So I live in 3 different major cities.
Black,
but you never lived
in DC now. I live in DC now.
Black and blacker.
Again, they got if there was a colorism issue, it would exist everywhere. Like, does it only exist in Middletown, Connecticut? Then that ain't.
Well, I'm from Middletown too, but I haven't experienced it like that. I mean, I dated a pretty popular guy in high school, and I feel like I'm Black as they come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If this only exists in Connecticut, this ain't a real issue.
But that's not true, because if you look at casting calls,
I mean,
casting calls now for videos.
That's why I brought up television.
There was a casting call that literally said no darkies. Talking about women. They were casting for women for a music video that said no darkies.
All right. So I guess so then now we're talking about like in white people's eyes or within the Black community. I think Hamp's initial question was about within the Black community.
Within the Black community.
In white people's eyes, they may still have some colorism issues. I don't disagree with that. But I think within the Black community, I don't know if those things exist at the same level. But for white people, sure, they.
I think that Black women are now becoming popular. We're becoming the it thing, right? Even amongst our own men, we're just popular, right? The having a Black woman is popular, is cool. Not to you because you grew up. You can't
having a Black woman is always well. So the facts say the overwhelming majority of Black men marry Black women.
I agree with that.
Like by far and away, like almost 90%.
85%
Black men marry Black women.
Yeah, 85%. Yep.
85%, right? So that's not even like a new thing, right? So that's what I'm saying. When you look at the stats, almost all Black men marry Black women. But people will have you believe that all the niggas marry the chicks from the videos. They don't.
So when I speak about colorism, and the reason that I brought up the music videos, I talk about representation, right? So for example, we kept showing clips of the show Insecure. Issa Rae, Yvonne Orji, who plays Molly, they are two darker skinned Black women, and they were the leads of the show. They were deemed to be like they had the opportunity to shine and to be sexy, to be valued in a way that's not necessarily displayed on television. Because what other shows do you see on mainstream marketing? Do you see that the darker skinned Black women have the appeal, that they are the attraction? How often do you see that? That's not a thing.
But that's white marketing, I think. So we're talking about white marketing, but what Ham's question was, amongst the Black community, is there colorism, like against each other, right? So like, do I feel a certain way against women of a lighter hue, or do you feel a certain way against women of a darker hue? My family is of all color. Like my mother is yellow. Everybody in my family is yellow, but I used to want to lay in the sun to be as dark as night because that's what was taught to me, right? So I only knew like Black was beautiful, even though everybody that I looked at in my family was of a lighter hue. But what Hamp's question is, like, between me and you, do I have an issue with you because you're lighter than I am? Or do you have, or do you have an issue with Isha because she's brown? Or do we prefer, do we look at light-skinned men as soft? I do.
Yes.
I do. I do. I do.
Even on like even a more I guess a micro level. So like I have family members, and the saying has always been, you don't bring somebody dark home. Like in my grandmother's house,
home, don't bring them home.
But my grandmother is like super prejudicial, and will purposely exclude if she thinks you are like too dark or too Black. She'll just be like, mm-mm. And like that. So with my sister was born, my second sister, she's like the darkest one out of all of us. The nickname they gave her out the womb, like everybody rushed over and was like, oh, Pequeña, Pequeña, Pequeña. It means little darky. Mm-hmm. And my mother lost it because they told her, they're like, oh, it's a term of endearment, but that's not how they were saying it.
Yeah.
And like that's something that's brought in these families, especially, I would say all Black families, but especially if you're from like another country, another culture, and it's like, So now you have a new generation of young Black men and women that are here, and it's like, if I don't already have an identity issue, maybe I should get one, because society says this, but family says this, and your family's your first set of teachers. So then here we are as adults. Not the code.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. So now that I'm thinking, right, if we use some real examples, so Corey is correct. All of our friends have Black wives or women, with the exception of one. And he always wrestling with something though. It's almost like an internal conflict with him.
Right. I agree. There's always this battle. And I don't want to use this example, but I know somebody in my immediate family that will not touch a Black woman. They just won't. Grew up with us, Black women, beautiful. Like, I feel like I come from a beautiful Black family, but won't touch a Black woman. He will love his family, but will not touch a Black woman. He said, I've dated a Black woman, and, I tried it one time, but like, I don't know, like, ugh.
But some of that might not be colorism. Some of that isn't on a beauty standpoint. Some of it is like mental, like they don't like the attitude or the things of that nature that they feel come with Black women. It isn't necessarily, I don't think they look good. It's just like they be feisty, or they want to go through a whole phase, or
but even still, with all of that knowledge that you just expressed that you and your friends and your partners have, you still, with all of that knowledge, still will choose a Black woman, or not, at least not even choose, but not exclude them from the pool.
All right.
With all of that, I'm talking about complete exclusion.
I would, but I wouldn't allow that one guy who's an outlier to impact our view of the group. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna always be an outlier. There's gonna be some fool that don't like Black chicks. There's gonna be some fool that's stuck on light-skinned women with big booties and like that. But you can't allow that dude to like represent the whole group. And like, I think for the overall, that's just not the view of the group.
And listen, there's somebody for you. If I'm not for you, I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been confident in that. Like even growing up in the community where like Black women were never the popular thing, but I'm cool with that. Like if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. I'm cool. I'm gonna go find me a black man that is for me though.
Right.
I never struggled with the fact of everybody around me is dating these Spanish girls or white girls or whatever. I never struggled with that. It's just like, all right, well, then you're just not for me. I always was the girl that didn't have any boyfriend. And it wasn't because I wasn't cute. It was just like, this is the thing, this is what's popular. But I feel like women have to have, I think you went back to, did you change your name? What is all this?
Who?
Okay. Your man in the upper left hand corner. He got too many. There's a lot of names going on.
No. Go ahead.
But what he was saying was that it goes back to family, right? So what your family instills in you is what you believe. Right? So if you believe
Well, I think at some point you got to be smart enough to grow out of that, right? So like Pierre was saying, like his grandma said something when he was a little kid, but at some point you got to grow out of that and be like, that's stupidity, and I can't continue to preach that or believe in those sorts of things. And you even probably need to stand up and speak against it. You know what I'm saying? If you hear people sharing that kind of rhetoric.
That's easy. That's easier said
that's
than
based
done.
on experience, right?
Like if you do it, you got to do it.
But that's based on experience. Like when you're experiencing things out in the real world, then you realize this is not right. I have
if I'm around some people now and I hear them say negative things about black women, I'm gonna stand up and be like, yo, bro, that's stupid. That don't even make sense. Like just like I wouldn't allow that sort of thinking to even exist around me. Like that.
Right, based on your experience probably with black women around you, right? Like you've probably had some experiences with black women where like this is just not true. Right? Like this is just not true. So it's based on exposure, it's based on experience, it's based on family dynamic.
Yeah, a lot of that shit be true about y'all though.
And y'all still fuck with us. So I mean,
cut it out.
You still fuck with us. I'd only be concerned if somebody was like, I don't fuck with you, like ever. Until I experience that, I ain't worried about it.
Well, I mean, we are.
I'm bringing my Caucasian friend to the cookout.
No, you're not. Where's the cookout?
Your house.
Get him out of here.
So interesting. So you said that you didn't really see it that way, right? You haven't experienced colorism because you are of a little bit darker hue. So this hasn't come past your radar or, to your forefront.
Are you asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Not in Middletown. I haven't seen it. In Middletown, I might say there's more of a classism over colorism. I haven't experienced it in Middletown.
How about school?
In Middletown High?
No, college.
No, I went to a black school, so
well, that's
I guess you like what you like, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I looked at it as. You like what you like, and I didn't see too many Hispanic women walking around Elizabeth City.
Well, so more so light skin. So, question: do you see Aisha light skinned men as soft?
I did. But then I have experienced one that wasn't so soft.
So he changed the narrative for all light skin.
My first opinion is, oh, he's soft. You light skin. You're gonna have to show me something different. You might want your hand soft as mine. I don't know.
Okay. Alex, when you see a dark skinned guy, you think he's rough and tough?
No. No.
What is the stigma, Alex, for dark skinned guys? Because we know the stigma for light skin.
Is he pretty?
No, dark skin.
For dark skin, I think the stigma that people have is that they're more masculine, they're protectors, they're more desired by women, versus with lighter skinned men. I think the stigma is that they're soft. For me, that has not been my experience. I am married to a lighter skinned man, so that has not been my experience.
What does brown skin fit into more?
Lost. We get lost in the sauce.
Like the middle ground.
Yeah, like us. Like I think the whole top we're probably brown.
Like if you describe, like if you had to put them into categories, like if you had to put them like into fraternities, you would describe either a brown skin or lighter hue man as a Kappa, you would describe a browner skinned man as a Q.
Okay.
Like if we're gonna use that example.
Okay. And these
But
are
brown-
stereotypes.
I just think that there's an animal. There's browner skin. I think browner skin people can go either way, right? They're in the middle.
So brown skinned people get
But
to define if they soft or tough.
Yeah, you could walk the line.
Okay, so if you brown and tough, you can be that. If you brown and soft, you could be that too.
You could be that too, right? You could walk the line of either or.
But if you're
They're
light,
invisible.
but if you're light, you have to prove you're tough.
Absolutely.
And if you're dark, you have to prove you're soft.
Absolutely.
Hey, we more fucked up than we think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's but it's the way, like, I don't know where that's happened, and I'm sure I don't know if it's through media or whatever it is, but you just automatically see a lighter hue man as more of a softer guy, right? Not soft and like he can't protect you, but just a all around softer male.
But that goes back to slavery, right?
Absolutely.
About it, the lighter skinned slaves were kept in the house. You were the house slave.
Absolutely.
The darker slaves were kept outside. You were doing the manual labor.
And they was fine, just all sweaty, picking cotton with their strong ass.
Yeah, I think it's definitely systemic. So, all right, man. Hey, look, appreciate you guys. I don't really fuck with Jerry Springer, but I do like this construct. Final thoughts.
Oh, yes. Sis, don't peg that man. If you suck dick once, you'll probably suck dick again. Yeah, make your choices.
Make the choices.
Just be clear and honest about your intentions. Don't lead folks on, and it's okay to want what you want.
Sometimes you might have to hold out a little bit to see what you want. Do it, sis.
Yeah, pagan's a no-go, but it doesn't make you gay. It does not make you gay. Also, what was the other thing? Yeah, pagan doesn't make you gay. You should be able to have a whole face, have your experiences, and brown-skinned men are beautiful.
There you go. What's done in the dark shall come to the light. Your whole facts will come out. If you had a whole phase if you want to, we're gonna find out, and you will be judged accordingly. That's it.
Yeah, man, I recommend men, if you don't want to be labeled, keep penis out your mouth or your ass.
Even fake ones.
Oh, how you think it's gonna go?
Even fake
the fake ones.
So women, I would advise against the whole phase because that sticks with you, and even dating around too much unintentionally can leave you by yourself. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and we out.